Hi, fellow traders. I hope you guys had a good week. This week is a little bit choppy for me. Typically, on weeks like this, you don't have a whole lot of stocks making moves. You just have to be in the right one at the right time to really get the home runs. But that's really not what we're looking for every day. We're just trying to pull money out the market. I'm of the money ball mindset. I look for base hits. If a base hit turns into a home run or a double or a triple, then hey, that's even better. Because I just want to be consistent and grow consistently. When you do that, your confidence level stays high. You rarely lose confidence because you're always inching toward your goal. So that's just kind of my philosophy on it. But this may not be a popular message today because it hit some people the wrong way. I know it did me in the beginning because I was one of these so-called fair weather traders. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be a fair weather trader. So most of you know what a fair weather friend is. It's that guy who is with you when times are good, when you could provide everything that they need and all of that, and they don't have to support you in anything. But then the minute you need them, they're not there. The minute the struggles happen, they disappear. And a fair weather trader is one of those guys that you move from person to person that you're trying to learn from, whether it be a YouTube channel or Discord group or a organized community. You're just going to whoever is in your mind being the most successful at the time. What happens is you never learn how to trade their strategies in all market conditions. Because like for me, my strategy may be working these 2-3 weeks, and then the person on the other side of the fence, they may be a little slow, but then their strategy, the market gets into where fitting what they do, and they start going and I get slow, and then everybody jumps over there, and then that person starts to get slow, then you go run somewhere else, and you never really stop and take time to learn how to be a consistent trader through all cycles. And it's not about jumping from this process to that process to this process to that process. It's really, really difficult to make that work. And when you see all of these successful traders, they all have their own methodology. They don't change up with the weather. They don't flip like a light switch. So you guys, when you're just starting and you're learning, absolutely, you have to learn from different people so that you can determine what you like, what style of trading fits who you are, what you can see better, what feels more natural to you. But once you finish that process, and that should only take maybe a couple of months, you have to pick a spot and you have to work that. And that's the only way you're going to be consistent. I mean, that, in my humble opinion, and from what I've seen, that's the way it has to be. And yeah, there fair weather teachers out there too, that you see when everything's getting good. How many people were streaming when GME was just blowing up and AMC was just blowing up, and then all of a sudden you don't see them anymore? They're not doing it anymore. They're fair weather traders. Or teachers. You don't want that. I've been a classroom teacher. I know how hard it is to, come in every day when people may not really be into what you're doing, or they might have been excited in the beginning, but somehow their focus changed or whatever. But every day I still had to come in class with a lesson plan that I had to work really hard on to try to engage all these students. I couldn't quit. And in the end, if only 3 or 4 students were really touched, that's a success for me. And I look at it the same as in trading. I don't care if I have 5 followers, 50, or 500. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do the same thing regardless. If there's one person that's into what I'm doing and into learning, I'm going to keep doing it because, that's my charge. That's what people say, that's their calling. It's what they love doing. It's what I love doing. So, and I know I had to have that as a trader. And I didn't have that at first. I was always trying to find, who's doing what the best. And that's where I wanted to go. But I realized it's the wrong thing to do. I have to pick what I'm comfortable with, pick that spot, learn it inside and out, be there in the hard times, the good times, and I have a better chance of being successful. So that's where this comes from. That's where this message comes from. So don't be a fair weather trader. And it doesn't matter who you're trying to learn from, whether it's me, whether it's Joe Blow, or whoever. It doesn't matter. If that's what you want to do, if that's your style of trading, then that's where you need to be, and that's where your focus needs to. And if they start struggling and they're still there through the struggles, then damn it, you need to be there with them, because that's the only way you're going to learn. All right, so let's look at the SPY today. Looks pretty damn good. We stayed above, even though we made a lower low today and we didn't make a higher high, we stayed above 390. We didn't get over 395. We didn't get the close over 395. And like I said, that is the key to us seeing 400. I've been waiting on this since the middle of February, and we're still farting around with this. We finally made a new high, and we took out the previous high again today. We didn't make a new high from yesterday, but we are holding up. The bulls are somewhat, they're still holding up. I can't say that they're in charge, but they are holding up. And, we'll talk a little bit more about this on Sunday. Now, Sunday, I'm going to be out of town. I'm pretty sure we're going to have internet. But the session, it's going to be the abbreviated one. And it won't be recorded because I can't, for some reason, the recording thing just doesn't work when I'm out. But we will go through this. I will have, later on that evening, the email will go out. The trade plans will get sent to the member Twitter feed. So you're going to have everything to get ready for next week. But just want to give you the heads up on that. And if something happens, I will, send out an email. And if I have to do it later that evening, then we'll do that. One way or the other, we're going to do it. But we're going to talk more about this and more about what we're looking for. But just today, you can see we had a pretty good day. We sold off a little bit early, and then, we just had a pretty good day. So after the close, we have come in a little bit. but that's fine. That's typically what we see on Friday, so no harm, no foul there. All right, so this is from yesterday. I didn't get a chance to go through the trades yesterday. I had a doctor's appointment, so I wasn't really in the room in the morning. I did try to take a trade sitting there in the doctor's office. It didn't work out very well, but I'll show you that one in a minute. But here is SQ. This is the one I took after I was back in the room. You know, I waited for over an hour for this thing to break. Finally, it broke. I waited for the confirmation because of how this was trading. It pulled back, held support. It held the bottom of this, or the top of this channel, and it held the 20. And then, you know, we just started taking profit at the targets. It barely missed my last target up here. Barely missed it. But, you know, it pulled back, and I went ahead and killed it. It still kind of worked its way around and never did get back up there. So this turned out to be a really good channel break. Or you can see this is an ascending triangle. We can draw an ascending support line here. This could be an ascending triangle, and all it did was just keep beating the top until it popped. And it made, so you could look at this however you want to. But the most simple way for me was, this is the top of the channel, this is the bottom of the channel. Just wait for it to break one or the other. Breaking the bottom of the channel was no good. We had too many levels of support. But the top of the channel was clean and green. And that's what we were looking for. We got that and picked up some profit on it. So for the second day in a row, Peloton turned out to be an Achilles heel. First trade, I was taking the opening range. I know this wasn't the hold on one second. I need to move this out of the way real quick. All right, so you can see this was later on, because we put in an opening candle. It kind of broke the opening range low, but you were running into all of the support, so there was no breakdown trade. There was no opening here, no setup at all. And so it bounced back, and you know, this was around 10 o'clock, and I'm like, well, this should be safe. And I got in, I was on my phone, and it turned around and stopped me out. So I went to go again, and I got in, and for some reason I could not put in the range order that I wanted to put in. And then I got called back. You know, I had to go get my blood stuff done, and I did not expect this, but it sold off and it bounced. By the time I looked at it again, we were on this candle, and I was like, wow, you know, this is kind of crazy. So just kind of held on to it and ended up, it didn't really do anything, you know, so it ended up being pretty much a break-even day on this. So I just pretty much took Peloton off the list. I mean, I had two really good trades on it this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday just didn't do anything. So I'm dry. It's getting benched for a while. But SQ turned out pretty good yesterday. That was that late trade that we did. I know most people weren't still in the room at the time, but those of you that were here, we got to work that out. So today, Facebook was the first trade. I was looking at an opening range breakdown. It started to work, and then it ripped back up on me. and it damn near top ticked. I thought I had my order far enough away from any volatility spikes, but evidently I didn't. So it took my stop out. I waited until we got in it again, and then it turned around and stopped me out again. But this time, it wasn't the market that did it, it was me. Because I was putting in my stop order, and for some reason, it immediately filled. I don't know if I put in the wrong price or not, because it immediately filled, and I never did get to see, the order, the pending order. It just filled. So I jumped back in, and the trade did work out. So it did exactly what I wanted it to do. The issue here was I did not, I should have taken it off back here, but I was kind of expecting it to fail and sell back off. I guess I assumed the market was going to die because of how it opened and how it sold off. I felt we were going to come back in, but it didn't. So had to take this off back at around break even, pretty close to break even. And you can see it never really came back. I mean, it came back and tested the 50-day here, but it just kind of worked its way up from there. But still no trades inside this for me because there weren't any clear windows of opportunity here. And then here we were after 3:30, so I'm not taking a trade on this after 3:30 on Friday. That didn't make any sense. So that was Facebook. I kind of almost did myself in on that. And SQ was the next trade I took. Another one later in the day. Once we claimed the 200, we were over all of this. Let me move this down out the way. So we were over all of this pre-market stuff. Okay, this is where we gapped down pre-market, and we had this big gap that I felt we could close up. So I was looking for it to go at least all the way up to red to green, which it almost did. But that's what I was looking at on this trade. But you can see opening was just really choppy. So once we got clear of all of this, and I got clear sky up here, I got in, took profit here. We pulled back a little bit, bounced, just couldn't get to my target. It just couldn't get there. So ended up taking it off here. And then once we started back, I got back in it. And again, it just wouldn't get there. It came within 10 cents of my order up here. And as it came back, I ended up taking it off. And then I went short here. Once we broke and took out the bottom of this channel, thought we had enough room to get at least to this level. But I thought we could come back to the 200 and the 100 that was converging. It didn't. Was able to get a base hit here. And that was it for the day. The real trade of the day, and I called it out this morning. I said, I watched the Benzinga show every morning, and they were talking about buying BA. It's like, and look at what BA did. And this was a nice move today. A really nice move. A 5-minute opening range breakout. We had plenty of room to buy it and take profit here. It pulled back. We could have added on this pop, but it ran up pull back again. I mean, we had some really nice opportunities here. Now here's a late day chop, but it chopped its way up. So you guys that stayed in it all day, that worked this out, you did a really good job. This was a home run trader today. I got chopped up with some base hits, but we still brought in 271.83. So every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. Facebook was my Achilles heel today, but I think that a lot of this had to do. I think I would have been flat if I hadn't messed up that order. I think I would have been flat, but it is what it is. But you could see this week wasn't as good as last week, but decent. I mean, I'll take it based on the fact that we don't really have any earnings, and I'm having to trade stocks with my secondary catalyst or some that are just trading with the market, and I'm at the mercy of the market, which I don't like, but we can do that. The process does allow for that, and you see how we have to manage it. That's what I'm trying to get across to you guys in chat. So, even though we had a slow week, I mean, this is a killer month. February was a little slow month, but look at how things kind of started to pick up. And then, boom, we had a killer week in March. All of this stuff adds up. And then you look at January, huge. Kind of a slow week at the beginning of January. Here we got into earnings. This week I kind of, like I was out that day. I just had a bad week, period. But look at this. It happens. All you have to do is trust the process. Stay the course and trust the process. It can happen for you. That's all it takes. So stay the course and trust the process. Don't be a fair weather trader. Wherever you're learning, doesn't matter where you're learning, who you're learning from. If they're not a fair weather teacher, you don't be a fair weather student. A fair weather student trader. You stick it with them until you realize that, hey, maybe this isn't the strategy for me, and then you move on to something else that you might like. All right, guys, so have a good one. Be safe. Enjoy this weekend. Get some rest, and we'll get back at this thing first thing Monday morning.